Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, a Raven who is also Brooke, and in today's video, I will be talking about why To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar is the greatest rap album of all time, and I'll be using 5 songs to help strengthen my argument. Now don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and to follow me on all my social media platforms, and remember that this is my opinion.
That's my opinion!
Nothing in this video I'm saying is facts, so please don't take it as such, and let's just get right into the video. So me and To Pimp a Butterfly, I feel like I just have a special relationship with this album because for me, I was 14 when it came out and it was 2015. And at this time, I was kind of phasing out of my period of just really loving 90s R&B music, specifically late 80s to like the early 90s R&B. I was just obsessed with it like my whole 8th grade year. And then when I was going into my freshman year of high school, that's when I really started getting into hip hop. I started listening to trap a little bit more. And I remember, like, I always knew who Kendrick was. I used to watch Teen Nick, and I remember they always used to play, like, the Swimming Pools video, Poetic Justice. So I really, like, I knew who Kendrick was, but at that time, I really just was not the biggest rap fan in the world at that period in life. And I will never forget, I was on the way to a hair appointment, and my dad was playing You Ain't Gotta Lie. And I was like, oh, I really like this song. Like, who is it? And he was like, it's Kendrick. And he was like, you know, it's from his album To Pimp a Butterfly. Like, it's just a really good album. You should listen to it. And I remember he started playing more songs from it, just like over, because I kind of was just like, okay, I'm gonna listen to it. But then I didn't. But I remember he, like, every time I would ride with him somewhere, because he would always take like me and my brother to get something to eat. And I remember the next song he played was Mama, Complexion, and For Sale. And off the bat, For Sale just automatically captivated me just from the production alone. Because I feel like when I first decided to listen to the album, I really wasn't listening to what he was saying. I was more just focused on like the production of the album. And so then when, like, literally the crazy thing about To Pimp a Butterfly for me is that as the years go by, I feel like I'm always catching something new that he's saying, or I'm finally understanding like a certain reference, what this reference means. And from that period on, Kendrick just became like my favorite artist of all time. And as an artist myself who's just starting out, To Pimp a Butterfly really made me understand like how important an album is. Like, an album is very important when it comes to storytelling, to production, to making sure everything flows. And it just made me appreciate music even more as a consumer. So I'm so excited to get into this video. And like I said, I'll be going into my top 5 songs that help strengthen my argument that To Pimp a Butterfly is the best rap album of all time. So let's just get into it. So first, I want to give a brief history of To Pimp a Butterfly. And To Pimp a Butterfly came out on March 15th, 2015 through Top Dog Entertainment and Aftermath. And the lead singles for To Pimp a Butterfly were I, The Blacker the Berry, All Right, These Walls, and King Kunta. And the album itself had 16 tracks, and it was critically acclaimed by many critics, and it was listed on many, you know, the year-end list that a lot of publications have, and it was number 1 for a lot of these publications. And it received multiple awards, and at the 2016 Grammys, Kendrick became the first male artist since Michael Jackson to have the most Grammy nominations in one night, and he ended up winning 6 Grammys, including Best Rap Album. He also had a very widely acclaimed performance at the Grammys that year, and to this day, it still grinds my gears that he did not win Album of the Year for this album. But we move. And for me, this album to me is what solidified Kendrick as a rap icon so early in his career. Because I've always said that Kendrick could have literally rolled out this album for more than 2 years like he did. Like the same way how we see Control with SZA and how Control just felt like this cultural phenomenon that she could have she could have really rolled the wave off Control for years and years if she wanted to. And that's the same thing that I feel with To Pimp a Butterfly. I feel like just the cultural phenomenon that it was and how it just cemented Kendrick's place as a rap icon so early because of how brilliant the album was. It's almost, again, like I said, he really could have rolled out this album for a very long time. That's just how massive this album was, not only number wise, but just critically. So The first song that I want to use as my argument is For Sale, the interlude. Now, like I said earlier, this interlude, first of all, the production itself captivated me from the moment I first heard this song. And this song actually featured Bilal, who's a very beloved solo artist in the Black community. And it also featured SZA. And the funny thing is that I remember listening to Untitled Unmastered maybe like 2 years ago. And I'm like listening and I'm like, is this SZA on this album? And I go through Genius and lo and behold, SZA is all over United. Did I say the wrong title? Untitled Unmastered, and she is in a good amount of songs in To Pimp a Butterfly. So one theme throughout this album is Kendrick basically talking to Lucy, and Lucy is the devil. And for this song, For Sale, it's just like the title, it's about selling your soul to become bigger than the program, basically in the entertainment industry, I feel like. And it's basically just like I said, and it's about selling your soul for fame and fortune and to have everything that you ever wanted. And basically, I feel like it's also talking about pushing the need for greed and how greed can really lead you down this trajectory where you meet Lucy. And it's almost like Kendrick is just having this inner battle where he wants Lucy to be the out his life so he wants Lucy to be out of his life, and he's acknowledging the fact that Lucy can do all these things for him, but at what cost? Like, even in the chorus, how it's like, I'ma get you, get you, get you, almost like an evil monster or villain in a movie saying, like, I'm going to get you. You will sell your soul to me. You will do things morally that are not right, but just know you're going to be happy at the end of the day with the materialistic things. And a few lines that really stuck out to me in this song is when Kendrick says, when I turned 26, I was like, oh shit. You said to me, I remember what you said too. You said, my name is Lucy, Kendrick. You introduced me, Kendrick. Usually I don't do this, but I see you and me, Kendrick. Lucy give you no worries. Lucy got million stories about these rappers that I came after when they was born. Lucy gonna fill your pockets. Lucy gonna move your mama out of Compton inside the gigantic mansion like I promised. Lucy just wants your trust and loyalty. Avoiding me, it's not so easy. I'm at these functions accordingly, Kendrick. Lucy don't slack a minute. Lucy work harder. Lucy gonna call you when Lucy know you love your father. And I don't know why, like every time I hear this song, this verse just always sticks out to me. When I read this verse, I guess what's very intriguing about it is how Kendrick is basically saying that Lucy is one warning Kendrick that I'm about to come after you and you probably will fall into temptation to me. Because mind you, this album was written after the success of Good Kid, Mad City, and Good Kid, Mad City is also a well-rounded, critically acclaimed album, rightfully so. To me, that album is one of the best storytelling albums in rap in general. So to come off that high of all that fame and notoriety that Good Kid was giving him, and knowing that this album was written around the time of the aftermath of that big high, basically, it's just interesting to have insight to see how he was feeling. Even how in the song Lucy is like, I'm at these industry events, because I'm looking at it as, okay, Lucy in a way is a record executive. He is the people around you who are trying to leech off your fame to get money off you, or even just quote unquote clout off you. And he's even saying, I'm going to give you money, I'm going to move your mom out. But then at the end of it, it's almost like again, you will not escape me. Like, it's just inevitable that I will take over your life. And then that last line saying, I know you love your father, I interpreted the father as God. And it's just, it's almost like, you know how in the movies or TV shows, you'll have the angel on one side and then the devil on the other side, both just telling you different things to do. That to me is what that song is interpreting. And then going back to the production, I was talking to my dad about this. What's interesting is the production is like this sunny, flowery feel to it. Like when you listen to it, you think you're about to maybe hear about love, maybe hear about, you know, living life and just doing you. But when you really listen to what Kendrick is saying, it's a very dark song. And again, almost kind of like the evilness to it in the chorus. So when he's saying, and when I get you, it's just like the juxtaposition of it all and how it all just comes together. It's just job well done, and that's why it's one of the top 5 songs. Now this next song, How Much a Dollar Cost. Now when I first heard this song, of course I interpreted it that Kendrick is talking to a homeless man. He doesn't want to give the homeless man money, and then at the end the homeless man talks to him, and that's just the song. But as the years have gone by and I'm listening to this album more and more, a lot of things started to make sense. And then it, slowly became one of my favorite songs off the album. And this song was produced by Love Dragon. And knowing that Kendrick got a lot of inspiration for this album while he took a trip to South Africa in 2014, and that this whole song is about an encounter with the homeless man that he had in South Africa, just made the song more personable and more, you're kind of like, you're listening to the song, you're kind of itching to waiting to see what happens at the end, because most of the song is Kendrick having this conversation with this homeless man. So you're kind of, again, the storytelling, you want to understand, okay, what's going to happen at the end. And to have George Clinton basically come in and talk in the perspective of this homeless man, it just tied everything together. And again, when you think about, because I'm going to talk about production a lot of this album, because I really do think that production really aided into helping telling the stories of these songs. And when you listen to the production, it's almost like the climax of a movie, or like a very intense scene of the movie. Like when you hear those horns, I presume in the background is going very hard and aggressive, like like that part. It's just like this intense encounter. So when I finally understood years later that Kendrick is talking to God, like basically the homeless man is God, I was just like, this man is just his brain, like his mind. So for me, the second verse is a very big standout in this song, because Kendrick says this. He's staring at me in disbelief. My temper is building. He's staring at me. I grabbed my key. He's staring at me. I started the car. Then I tried to leave. And something told me to keep it in park until I could see the reason why he was mad at a stranger, like I was supposed to save him. Like I'm the reason he's homeless and asking me for a favor. He's staring at me. His eyes follow me with no laser. He's staring at me. I noticed that his stare is contagious. And another reason why I feel like this is a standout song is because I feel like everyone in the world has had an encounter with a homeless person. And sometimes when you don't give them something, or even when you just genuinely have nothing to give them, you just feel a ting of guilt almost, at least for me. I feel like it's like you almost question your own morality in a sense. Like, damn, I know I have something, or damn, I wish I had something, and this person is homeless and I can't even really do anything to help them. So what does that make me? Because a lot of people love to say like, oh, don't give money to homeless people because most of them are on drugs. So they're probably just going to go out and get drugs. And I feel, this is a whole nother topic and conversation, but I feel like that's very disingenuous and very selfish to feel, because no one asked to be homeless most of the time. Some people find themselves in a very difficult place to where now they have just lost everything. They lost everyone to addiction, eviction. You just never know what anyone is going through. And I'm someone where if I have money, I'm just going to give it to you. I really don't care what you do with it, because now my thought process is, okay, I have money. Like money's going to come in. I got a job. I have all these things. So, but I feel like before I kind of was feeling the position that Kendrick was feeling, of just like, it's just when a homeless person is just asking you for money, or like they're right there and you can't give them anything, or you won't give them anything, it kind of sticks with you for a second, and it begins to make you analyze the interaction, analyze yourself. And again, just knowing that the homeless person is supposed to be God, it just makes you think even further, like, again, how a lot of people say that things that happen in your life are a test from God. Is a homeless person a test from God? Is God trying to see what compassion do you have, the characteristic of giving in you? So I just feel like this song makes you think in general. So I feel like this song in general just makes you think of your own morality. And would you be willing to help someone, or would you feel guilt from it in general? And then even that whole last verse that Ronald Isley says, where he's like, I wash my hands, I said my grace, what more do you want from me? Tears of a clown, guess I'm not all what it's all meant to be. Shades of gray will never change if I condone. Turn this page, help me change to right my wrongs. And it's interesting to hear the perspective from a homeless person, because even when you give money to a homeless person, you're never really asking them their story, or how they got there. And to hear this again from the perspective that this is supposed to be God talking to him, and just being like, I did all these things. I tried to be, this is how I interpreted it. I tried to be as righteous as possible, and I'm still in this position. So what does that both make us, I guess? And it's just a very interesting song. It's very interesting to hear many people's perspectives of it. Now, the next song I chose was Complexion because I feel like Complexion is just an important song in general, especially in the Black community. And it features Rhapsody, and it was produced by Thundercat Soundwave with additional production from Terrace Martin and Antidote. And it also had vocals from Pete Rock. And in this song, Kendrick is basically talking about colorism within the Black community, and he's drawing a lot of references from the history of slavery and at least how slavery, in my opinion, started here in America, not in other countries, but here in America. And like I said, I just feel like this is a very important song, especially for Kendrick having the platform that he has to touch on this topic because unfortunately, this was in 2015, it's 2025, and colorism is still such a big issue just in the world in general and even in the Black community. I mean, I feel like in the past few years we've had many examples, especially in the entertainment industry where we see how colorism can affect people. Because in the song, when referencing to, slavery, Kendrick does say, "Sneak me through the back window, I'm a good feel. I made a flower for you out of cotton just to chill with you. You know I go the distance, you know I'm 10 toes down. Even if masters listen, I got the world's attention." And just that, and then even, oh my God, I forgot the first two lines when he's like, "Dark as the midnight hour or bright as the morning sun, brown skinned, but your blue eyes tell me that your mama can't run." I remember my dad finally made that line like click for me, and I was like, wait a minute. Oh, Oh, okay. So it's basically telling me that like their mom must have been, the term house slave, and how unfortunately a lot of slave masters were a lot of women who were in slavery, and basically saying, you are a mixed child, which tells me that unfortunately your mom was assaulted by a slave master. And even when I kind of looked on Genius, it was kind of saying that like the epidemic of mixed people came from slavery. And I can't even really go into that right now because I feel like my mind kind of needs to reel with that information and do more into that information. But it's a very interesting perspective for that line for me. And I remember I didn't know why like the song was called Complexion, A Zulu Love. But then when I realized what a Zulu Love was, I was like, okay, this all makes sense. So basically, the term a Zulu Love comes from its a Zulu Love may refer to the Zulu philosophy Ubuntu, which directly translate to humanness or human kindness. This philosophy promotes the showing of love, mercy, and kindness regardless of a person's background, skin color, or place of origin. And again, just the amount of the little details, the amount of thought that Kendrick put into this album is just chef's kiss. But the standout for me was Rhapsody, and the way she came in for this verse, her wordplay, her metaphors, it was just like, Rhapsody. The talent is there. And the lines that stood out to me in this verse were 12 years of age, thinking my shade too dark. I love myself, I no longer need Cupid. Enforcing my dark side like a young George Lucas. Light don't mean you smart, being dark don't make you stupid. And frame of mind for them buses ain't talking woo-ha. Need a paradox for the paradox that they tutored. Like two ties, LL, you lose two times. If you don't see you're beautiful in your complexion, it ain't complex, put it in context. Find the air beneath the kite, that's the context. Your baby on contest, ain't no contest. If you like it, I love it. All your earth tones been blessed. And her whole verse was just, especially as, a lot of people may debate it, a brown skin / dark skin woman that Rhapsody is. It was I feel like Kendrick just having a Black woman on this song to talk about her experiences with colorism was very important and very commendable. Now for this next song, it may or may not be controversial for people that I'm picking this song because a lot of people I feel like just write off this song. The fourth song I am choosing is Mortal Man. Now, Mortal Man was produced by Thundercat and Soundwave, and it contained additional vocals from James, I do not want to pronounce his last name wrong, but I probably am, James Fauntleroy, and it also had basically Tupac at the end of it, where he and Kendrick are having a quote-unquote conversation. Now, Mortal Man, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I used to write off this song a lot. One, because it is long, but two, like, something was not connecting with me with this song. I can't really describe why I wasn't connecting with it. So again, I feel like I need to say that a lot of this album came from Kendrick's trip that he went to South Africa in 2014. And in this song, he's talking about a lot of leaders, prominent leaders, just in the Black community in any country, like Nelson Mandela. He talked about Malcolm X. He talked about Martin Luther King. He drew comparisons to prominent Black celebrities like Michael Jackson. And I did see on Genius an excerpt from an interview that he did with Billboard. And in this interview, he said, and this is what he said to Billboard: "I felt the pressure in Compton looking at the responsibility I have over these kids. The world started turning into a place where so many were getting no justice. You got to step up to the plate. Mortar Man is not be saying, I can be your hero. Mortar Man is questioning, do you really believe in me to do this?" And thinking of that album, Mr. Morale, to like low key, Pimp A Butterfly is like a little prelude to Mr. Morale. I feel like every album up to Mr. Morale is a prelude for Mr. Morale, even Damn. But just thinking of this song, like I thought of Mr. Morale and I thought of the song Savior and how Kendrick was saying, like, I am not the end all be all. I am not God. I am not this person that you think can do no wrong. I have my flaws. And when I have my flaws, like, you can't sit here and judge me for them and just me for them. Like, I'm human just like you. And I remember just listening to the song more and more. What always stuck out is he keeps repeating the lines, if shit is a fan, are you still a fan? And a lot, I remember one time, because, you know, Kanye has been a very controversial person these past almost 10 years now. And I remember someone draw out the parallels to Kanye. And because I feel like now people are at a point with Kanye where it's just like, just please shut the up. Honestly, like, it's over, it's done, we're tired. Especially in the Black community, I feel like a lot of people have let him go a long time ago. Like, even people that he's worked with has pretty much let him go. And the song being called Mortal Man, and him just basically questioning, like, okay, none of us are perfect in this, and it's how I interpret it. None of us are perfect in this world. So when I do something that's maybe not morally right, even maybe a crime damn near, what are you going to do? Are you going to look at me as a person, or are you going to look at me as a celebrity who can do no wrong? And even one thing that I unfortunately didn't get just my first few times listening to the song is how he almost just feels guilt to himself that maybe he can't do enough to help, or questioning, is there even really anything that I can do to help? And even questioning people who are rich and saying, you know, you can do something to help. Like, you have all these, you know, himself, you know, we have all these resources to do things for these people in Compton. So what are we really doing? Like, and I feel like the conversation with Tupac also brings into more perspective of what Kendrick was thinking. And even talking about just the cycle of violence that can happen within the Black community, and how he's talking to Tupac and saying, like, well, how can we break it? Is there anything that we can really do to break it? Or is this just something that's going to continue and continue? Like, can no one with money really do anything? Is it the power of the government who has all this control over us that's making us do these things? Like, what can we do? And to me, this is like a chilling aspect of the song, is how when he talks about, because even I was like, why is this album called Pimp A Butterfly? And knowing that it was originally supposed to be called Pimp A Caterpillar. And it's like the last few lines of the song, and he's using a caterpillar and using the things of the cocoon, and the cocoon holding all this power, and the cocoon basically is his power. And it's like, what do I do with this? How do I grow to be this person? And again, this is how I am interpreting it. It's just, how can I grow to be this person who can help the people who have essentially helped me get here, or people who are so essential to my life and just how I am the way I am. And how the fact that, like, when he's asking, you know, Tupac the most important question, he's really getting down to the nitty gritty, and Tupac isn't answering back, and he's like, Pac. And that's just the end of the album. And even thinking about it, it's kind of like, it's kind of like chills. Because like I said, the album to me is just a masterclass of storytelling, and just that being the final song, that being the final line of the album where he doesn't get the answer. He's kind of just left wondering, what do I do? It's just masterclass, Kendrick. So the blacker the berry. Now I decided to add the blacker the berries. I went, you know, kind of back and forth with this, because I was going to choose the Wesley's Theory, but I feel like The Blacker the Berry is an important song because Kendrick is essentially calling himself a hypocrite in this song. And he's also calling the Black community hypocritical. He's kind of like, he wants the Black community to be better in terms of the violence that can happen. But how can he be better when at the end of the song, he alludes that something had happened to his friend, even he wanted revenge himself? And it's like he even starts the song by basically saying like, I'm the biggest hypocrite of 2016. Like, and then when he's like, and at the end when all this is finished, you will understand what I mean. And literally at the end of the song, he's calling himself out for being a hypocrite. And it's almost like he's having an inner conflict with himself as to, okay, whose fault is it that certain things are happening in the Black community that are harmful? Again, is it the government's fault or is it our fault? Like, why is this happening? What is the reason? Why am I hypocritical? Why do I feel hypocritical? And to me, the second verse stood out, and these are the lines that stood out. And he is like, I'm the biggest hypocrite of 2015. Once I finish this, witnesses will convey just what I mean. I mean, it's evident that I'm irrelevant to society, that what you're telling me, penitentiary will only hire me. Curse me till I'm dead, church me with your fake prophesizing that I'ma just be another slave in my head. Institutionalized manipulation and lies, reciprocation of freedom only live in your eyes. You hate me, don't you? I know you hate me just as much as you hate yourself. And I feel like, and this is going to go into what I feel like my big point has always been about this album and the way people interpret this album, the way people talk about it. I hate how mostly mainstream people talk about this album, especially some people in the Black community. They call it a slave album. They say that he's just preaching to everyone to be better for the Black community, and it's a Black power album. It's annoying. And I say over and over again, this album is not meant for other people. This album is meant for Kendrick Lamar himself. This album is about him. The only thing that he is doing is drawing these examples from the Black community, drawing these problems from the Black community to help strengthen his point that basically he's trying to navigate a world of fame and fortune by having survivor's guilt. And I don't understand and like, even if this was a quote unquote slave album or a Black power album, what is wrong with that? We need more of that, especially given what is happening in the world right now with this current administration and how they're basically trying to erase the history that we have and just coming at us from every angle to the workforce. It's just like, I hate how people just don't understand. I hate how people, one, don't understand the concept of the album, how they don't want to understand the concept of the album, and how they are turning this whole it's a slave album into a negative. Like, if you listen to this album in whole, this is literally about how much a dollar costs. It's about a homeless person being God and just feeling guilty and feeling like he has this much greed and how that makes him question if he's a good person. And like, even in Mama, one of my favorite lines in the whole album, is when he's like, the way I'm rewarded, well, that's God's decision for just doing good things and being him. It's just, and even Mama is about coming back to where he's from and feeling comfort there. These Walls is about, the lust factor of the music industry. I hate how this album has been misconstrued throughout the years. So even, I'm going to reference the beef, even how in Family Matters, how Drake was saying how Kendrick makes albums about freeing the slaves or something like that. It's like, okay, 1 minute y'all want someone to talk about quote unquote Black power, to be the voice for Black people, and then y'all will bitch if that person doesn't do it. But then the moment that someone is doing it according to your standards, even though again they are not doing it, and that was not the point of To Pimp a Butterfly, now it's a goddamn problem. So it's like, so how do you want someone to come about it? Do you want someone to be blunt with it and actually start real conversations, or do you want someone not to do it and then get mad? Like, I just don't understand what you want. Like, I don't. And I think what makes this album the best rap album of all time is the conversations that it started. And how even production-wise, Kendrick took a risk by making a jazz rap album in 2016 when trap was just booming everywhere. Literally, like 2016 was like, almost, to me, this is just me, it was kind of like that 2014, 2016 was like the rebirth of trap music. And just how Kendrick took even a risk production wise, how he was being, again, Good Kid was of course a very vulnerable album, but with this album, just the comparisons that he drew, the history that he began to pull, the historical references that he pulled for this album. Like, how can you sit here and disrespect it and not appreciate it for the art that it is? For Sale, how he's talking about Lucy the devil being in the music industry or the entertainment industry, and having so much pull in his life and trying to make him basically do things that again question his morality and telling him, like, I know you love God, but here I am with all the things materialistically that can make you happy. And I just hope that one day we can have a conversation about this album where we truly begin to understand the genius of it. We begin to understand this album as a story of Kendrick, not a story of the Black community, but really it's a story of Kendrick. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I would love to hear you guys' opinions in the comments. Do you feel like To Pimp a Butterfly is the greatest rap album of all time? And if not, what is your greatest rap album of all time? And don't forget to be respectful in the comments and to always keep life cute, fab, and fun. And I will see you guys in the next video.